as if a puzzle being taken apart, your education was claimed in bits and pieces, one by one, from the loss of physical classes, of interaction, of human connection, of normalcy.
The absence of work-life balance, considering that we have different roles as individuals in different settings. And currently, these roles are coinciding and conflicting in many aspects.
What I find very challenging in this situation is how do we humanize? Meaning, paano nagiging makatao yung interaction between the students, the teachers, and our other stakeholders in university, because we are relying only on gadgets, technology, and sometimes empathy is lost in transmission. And it feels so surreal that, for example, me as a faculty, as a teacher, I try to teach 20 to 40 students per section, but I'm only staring at the black screen. And it's so different from the usual interactions with senior high school students, even undergraduate students, where uh, when I talk about something, people will react even non-verbally. Now, the non-verbal nuances are lost, and it's hard to get feedback. But am I doing okay? Are the students understanding what I'm trying to get across? So that's a very different experience altogether.
So it's pretty hard for us to administer lessons, administer a lot of things when it comes to online distance learning. It's pretty hard, especially feeling that you're not technically meeting anyone. You're not. It's hard to conduct meetings when you're not in the same room with them. So I think most of it was down to, we all miss the communal experience that we have when we are together physically. So I think that's the biggest, at least for me.
The number one struggle, no, not only me, of course, even the students, is the internet connectivity. But I struggle more preparing for the module. But I am happy because, I get to learn. Of course, I became acquainted because every day I do the modules. I have to learn everything. And I'm happy because I'm very successful, especially uploading the video. Okay, that's the most challenging part of the module.
To be honest, there are a lot, but I feel like the area that I find most difficulty in is the interaction with students, really. Because with per-dev, diba, you would know this, it's easy to make the discussion alive because of the relevant experiences we can associate with the concepts and theories, ganyan. But with everything being online, diba, as compared nung everything was physical, in the physical classroom, diba, yung face-to-face interaction, I could easily detect kapag like naiintindihan pa ba ng students yung lecture, or yung mga simple body language as are they bored? Do they look interested? Do they look like they're struggling? Diba? So all of those things. But with an online setup, it's obviously difficult to make a meaningful connection with the students just through a screen. Diba? Like I can give all the hugots in the world. I can give all of the relatable situations to students. And yes, I still get the occasional yung mga, oh, miss, with all of my examples, ganyan. But really, it's different when you're actually with them. Ako, I just really miss seeing and being with my students in the physical classroom.
Our education was left to crumble into an unrecognizable, distant, and cold experience of what used to be of shared laughter, passion, and understanding. This is our present, our reality. This is for you, whose hands try to rebuild our broken puzzle, whose mind empowers our learning, whose heart gives hope in a seemingly helpless situation. To you, who have sacrificed for the sake of rebuilding our education, thank you.
I was born for this. No? God called me for this purpose. Okay? I believe it's a calling. I belong to a family of teachers. It's in my blood. And I want to share, of course, no, in the mission of St. John Baptist de La Salle of teaching minds, touching hearts, transforming lives of the young people confided to my care. So that's why I'm still here despite all these difficulties.
Honestly talaga, validation of my personal purpose, or because I get the answers on why I do what I do. I mean, yes, this particular situation is really difficult for everyone, for students, for parents, and for us teachers, diba? This is for everyone. We have our individual struggles and reasons why this new normal is hard to deal with, diba? But personally, I still push myself every day kahit may mga days na bumibigay ka na talaga. Push pa rin. Kasi meron talagang meaning and comfort na binibigay sa akin yung ginagawa ko, eh, 'di ba? Knowing that every after lecture, 'di ba, yung lectures na pinapuyatan mong gawin at i-rehearse night before the class, naa-appreciate ng students, nakaka-connect pa rin sa kanila even with this new setup na you're not with them physically, you still get through them. Ganon. And as an educator, sobrang sarap nun sa puso. Parang nagiging worth it yung physical and the occasional na emotional and mental breakdown.
I took an oath to basically, in whatever situation, do my best to try and educate all the people that I can around me. Second, maybe what keeps me sane during this time. It isn't only considered a profession, at least when it comes to me. So it's what keeps the sense of normalcy alive at this time where it is really hard to keep that sense alive. And especially when all of us are experiencing personal problems, it's our duty and responsibility to actually, promote the sense of normalcy in this difficult time. I know all of us are having a lot of personal problems. See, personally, my father just died around March during the height of this pandemic. It was pretty hard, but of course, I had to set that aside to still continue what I had to do.
Simply because I still have hope for the future for the younger generation. We seem to be in a hopeless situation, but I just want to make the most out of it and still be able to educate our youth and help them become the agents of social and political change that we all aspire to attain.
We have different coping mechanisms. Some people would say that their coping mechanism is self-care through rest. For me, I wanted that sense of progress, that semblance na kahit paano umaandar pa rin. In the sense that we are still moving along. For example, in my case, I'm still doing my job and students are still learning despite the pandemic. Because to me, there's something somewhat romantic or beautiful in a perspective where when the world wants to stop, we are able to move. And that's something that resonates with me. Although I'm not forcing that mindset with other people, but to me, it's my own coping mechanism. It's easier to feel lonely. It's easier to feel isolated when it feels like we're not moving along and the world wants to stop. So yun yung masabi kong hugot in this particular case. And aside from that personal aspect, professionally speaking, I treat this as a vocation because my undergraduate course and my master's are Applied Corporate Management and Master of Business Administration. And supposedly, if I follow the usual stereotype, meaning following the career paths of those Lasallian courses, I would be in the corporate setting. But somewhere along the way, I realized that maybe this is my calling, not to do research and to teach people a new way of thinking about businesses. And that belief system is business could be a means to advance human well-being and environmental well-being. Hence, having friends in the medical field and other professions we call frontliners. Sometimes we can feel guilty because they're the ones fighting physically or biologically speaking the spread of the virus. But I am rethinking what it means to be an educator at this point in time. Wherein we try to be the ones who provide a platform for emotional healing or social healing in today's time. Yes, learning is a priority, but educators, teachers could provide that platform for community building. And one of the Lasallian core mission or core value is communion in mission. That what if we rethink the way we teach online? Instead of focusing on coverage and learning, we also provide that communal setting, that community building. Because today, we're not only fighting the virus as a pest that could enter our bodies, but rather we're fighting a pandemic where isolation and the feeling of being alone is also something that we need to manage. So to me, that's a mission that educators should be able to fulfill.
Heroes, a title given only to a few deemed worthy, whose love for the people surmounts the desire for success, whose commitment to excellence surpasses adversity, whose sacrifice goes beyond themselves in the service of the community. Heroes are people, for the people. In this day of heroes, know that you are recognized for your efforts, appreciated for your sacrifice, and valued for your service. Today is a day for heroes. Our dear teachers, you are the heroes of our education.